What's up, everybody? It's Man of Low Moral Fiber here. My name's Luke, and in this video we're going to be taking a second look at the Invader as a part of my Does It Suck series. The Invader is the legendary Hyperion Sniper. It is most commonly available from Saturn. Like many other weapons, this weapon got a significant boost as a part of the community patch, which is the reason why we are revisiting it here in this series. I have this weapon here with the base damage accessory that gives it the auditing prefix, and we've also got the Hyperion grip for the matching manufacturer bonus. If we're looking at the weapon here compared to another Hyperion Sniper, we can see that the base damage is significantly lower. The magazine size is also larger. The main difference is that when you aim down the sights, this weapon has a 5-round burst, whereas the auditing transaction only has that single round. So that's the main difference between the Invader and a regular Hyperion Sniper. We're seeing that the base damage is significantly lower, but you do get that 5-round burst when you're aiming down sights. A little bit weird that they gave the Hyperion legendary sniper the Dahl's special effect, but perhaps there was some sort of cross-company collaboration there. Let's do a control on this first enemy and see how quickly we'll kill him. You'll notice that with this weapon, kind of like the Godfinger, you might want to aim specifically for a critical hit spot that isn't going to disappear, because this weapon is trying to put multiple rounds on target, and if his shoulder disappears, then some of your extra rounds in that burst aren't going to do anything. One of the main limitations of this gun in the original Does It Suck video was that, it runs out of ammo quickly because it doesn't have a high enough base damage. Let's pop on over to Sanctuary here and take a look at how much damage it's actually doing on the dummy before we switch over to the patched version. So I guess you could see this weapon as a high fire rate weapon so long as you're using it while you're aiming down the sights. But in Borderlands 2 there's a lot of movement involved, a lot of situations where you're not aiming down the sights, and zero players will probably be used to not aiming down the sights because of this at one with the gun skill bonus here, where you have nearly perfect accuracy with most snipers when you're not aiming down sights. So because of that, there are a lot of situations where Sniper Zeros are not going to be aiming down sights, effectively not gaining the bonus features of this weapon. Getting rid of the one-shot, one-kill bonus, we can see that this is going to do 14-16 to this guy. Let's switch on over to a Vladoff, and we'll compare those real quick. You can see that the Vladoff has a much higher fire rate and a much higher base damage. The fire rate's a little bit slower when you're aiming down sights. It doesn't get 5 rounds out quite as quickly, but you still get 5 rounds out as quick as you need to. Regardless, let's shoot this guy here. You can see that 2639 is going to be a lot higher than 1416. Didn't get rid of the critical ascension stack. Oh, now it finally went away. Again, 1416 is pretty low. Now you can get 5 shots on head pretty quickly if the enemy's sitting totally still. I find that that's a little bit harder to do in practice. Obviously with the Lyuda you can also get him where the rounds split. And if you do that, you're going to get a massively higher damage because you're getting multiple bullets on target that way. So even if you wanted to get multiple rounds on target, it seems like the Lyuda is always going to be a better legendary sniper choice than this. But let's apply the community patch and see if I'm wrong. The patch notes for the community patch say that the Invader got a 70% damage boost. So it should be up from that 430k that we were looking at beforehand, and now be significantly higher. If we look at it here, we can see that now it's got 629,000. Everything else appears to be about the same. The fire rate still says 1 on the card, which is interesting because if we move down to the transaction, it got the regular Hyperion weapons buff, and now it has a higher fire rate. So, interesting. Let's go ahead and head down to the testing dummy one more time just to see if it's going to do a little bit more damage now. If we actually hit him. Yeah, so a significant boost in damage there. We'll have to see if that really works out well for the weapon. I do believe that ammo management is going to be a little bit of a problem with this weapon. Obviously, we've only got 132 magazine capacity, or ammo capacity at all. The magazine capacity is 25, so, 25 goes into 132 a pretty few amount of times, to be honest with you. And so we'll have to be careful of that. wasting of ammo, especially since some of their shoulders and stuff are going to disappear as we hit them. So perhaps we'll want to limit our burst by, exiting aim down sights when we know a critical hit spot has been destroyed or an enemy has been destroyed. Killing this first enemy again, though, kind of as a control. We'll see how many, shots it's going to take to kill him. When you get 5 rounds on a critical spot like that, seems like it'll go pretty quickly. So this weapon is probably going to be effective at stacking and keeping Critical Ascension, which is good. Obviously, Critical Ascension got a boost as a part of the community patch where the stacks don't wear off as quickly, so that might help a little bit with this weapon's ammo consumption problems. It is possible to fire a single round out of aim down sights. You just have to let go of the aim down sights button pretty quickly. Trying to figure out where there's another enemy in here. He was hiding behind this dumpster. Alright, now we found a hot loader as well. Cool. So you can see that when you're not aiming down sights, the fire rate is really, really low. But to be expected, I guess. It says 1 on the card, which is a low fire rate. That kill them both? That was pretty cool. So, because this weapon has a relatively low base damage and a relatively high fire rate, you should stack up Critical Ascension pretty quickly when using this weapon, which is a good thing. Make up for its still relatively low base damage compared to other snipers. But you can see that with a modest amount of Critical Ascension while you're in Deception, you are going to one-hit basic enemies. Can we one-hit a badass enemy? Yet to be seen. It'll be seen soon, though. It did. So that's pretty cool. And we even aimed at a spot there where his arm fell off, so it wasn't the second bullet hitting him that took him out. It was the first bullet there. However, when an enemy's not slagged, it doesn't quite have that stopping power. Cool. Now we're down to 45 rounds of ammunition. Pretty low, approximately a third of our total ammo capacity. Because of that, might need to start limiting my burst firing. But, oh well. I would prefer a higher base damage so that it would only take 2 arm shots to kill these guys instead of a third shot in the eye. Maybe I could just aim the burst at the eye the whole time. But, I don't know. Gonna kill a couple of these guys without yet picking up the ammo because that should give us ammo drops from them. Trying to limit the burst capacity right now so that I don't waste what little remaining ammo that I do have. So we have 4 rounds here, but there is a bunch of ammo on the ground. Get rid of that guy's gun real quick. Cool. Trying to limit my burst right now so that we don't waste too much ammo. Obviously, we're still low on ammo. Begin to pick up some of the sniper rifle ammunition so that we can be a little bit less judicial in our ammo usage. Cool. With the one-shot, one-kill bonus, still not able to kill an enemy with a decent amount of Critical Ascension there. Pretty high amount, so a little unfortunate on the base damage of this weapon, but it does have a neat special effect. Seems like if you wanted to use a burst fire sniper rifle, though, you'd probably just use a Dahl or the pitchfork over this weapon. This weapon doesn't suck necessarily now. It didn't... I mean, you could still get by with it beforehand. It kind of sucks compared to other options still. Ah, stupid barrel. Blew him away. It got him slagged, though, so maybe we'll get the kill. Oops. Somehow managed to slag that pole and myself, which was a mistake, but it happens. Alright, so obviously once you get up to this much Critical Ascension, it's going to be a good rifle. But then again, nearly every rifle would be. So because of that, it's kind of hard to justify that as a benefit of this weapon. There are other weapons that would be making better use of our Critical Ascension stacks at this point. And because so many enemies have critical hit spots that disappear after you hit them a couple times, I don't know, the Invader's special bonus there is a little bit lacking in my mind. When enemies will just drop an arm, that burst fire isn't going to be super helpful to us. I mean, if we were just trying to, do single shot burst out of aim down sights with that, we could probably use the diamond transaction and be a little bit better, right? So if we use this, look at that, kills an enemy in one shot. Same over here, I bet. So that's where, using this weapon might only be beneficial when you're at low stacks, perhaps. Or maybe this just isn't that good of a weapon. It's definitely not a good weapon if you miss a bunch of shots, I can tell you that much. Alright, so we finally got rid of Pervy, which is good. We can get rid of this guy too once he gets slagged. Perfect. Make sure we have enough ammo here for Hurley. I don't want to waste too much of it. Cool. There's going to be a hot loader in here. We should one-shot him with this much critical ascension, and we do, so that's good. Oh no, I got stuck, wasting all of our critical ascension. Not a big a deal now that the stacks last a little bit longer, though. There's an ammo box down here that we'll get. Hopefully that'll give us plenty of ammo. Gave us 12, which is not a ton. We'll try to make quick work of the badass loaders here. Cool. So one's down. We'll get rid of this second one. Perfect. Now, against a really large enemy like this might be one of those situations where you feel that the Invader's special effect is going to be truly beneficial. You have a large health pool to work through. It's going to take multiple shots with any sniper rifle. Perhaps having the burst damage from this is going to be really, really nice. But, in my experience, this guy's arms drop off too quickly. So, we'll have to shoot him down here in the crotch or the eye, which are harder to hit multiple hits on in a row. It still took him out pretty quickly, but keep in mind that's a rather ridiculous amount of critical ascension. Ugh, the fire rate when you're not aiming down sights is really, really bad. I would choose a more consistent weapon than this one. Does it suck? Not necessarily. Is it on par with other legendary snipers? No, it definitely doesn't seem to be. This is not a top tier sniper, even after it had its damage boosted by 70%. Honestly, I would probably use a non-unique Hyperion Sniper over this guy, and beyond that, the Morningstar, which is not a legendary version of a Hyperion Sniper, just a unique variant, is much, much better than this weapon as well. So, for me, this weapon still kind of sucks, considering that it is a legendary weapon. It's nowhere near on par with this, right? And I'd say it's going to be worse than the Pitchfork as well, as far as putting a burst downrange. If we look at the Pitchfork, and we're going to in a future episode, but it puts rounds downrange pretty quickly too, and you also get extra rounds with it. So the Pitchfork obviously uses less ammo in the community patch version of the game. It also suffered kind of like the Invader in the non-community patch, so we'll look at that one in a future video. But compared to other community patch snipers, I feel that the Invader is still weak. I should have brought a Morningstar to compare it to. We'll look at a Morningstar in a future video as well. But even compared to, non-unique versions of Hyperion Snipers, I can't really justify using the Invader over even other Hyperion Snipers, but definitely over something like the Lyuda or a Droog or some other high fire rate Dahl sniper that's going to beat this out. I just don't think this is a very good weapon. Can you get by with it? Obviously. Definitely. Zero has strong sniper boost. You can get by with most snipers, but compared to other contemporary snipers, this is not your best choice. Does it still suck? I mean, kind of, because it's so far behind everything else. It's not unviable. It's definitely still a viable weapon. But compared to other options, yeah, it sucks a little bit. These guys wish that they were killed by a more fearsome weapon. They were programmed to die. They at least wanted to die to something cool. So, RIP bots there, but, oh well. The Invader is still a little bit shitty in my mind. It's a good weapon, don't get me wrong. I say good. It's a viable weapon, don't get me wrong, and I definitely think the boost for it is definitely a good thing. The community patch did a great job on making it at least a little more viable, but compared to some other weapons, I still think it is lacking. There's some ammo in here, which is fun to grab if you're trying to run through with a ton of critical ascension. You can stack up critical ascension on this guy here and then absolutely decimate everything out there. Fun little ammo area. Regardless, back to the Invader one more time. It's meh. Does it suck? Borderline. I'm on the fence on that. It sucks compared to other things, or other sniper rifles, but it doesn't suck compared to some of the worst weapons in the game. It's still a viable option even at overpower level 8. So as always, guys, I thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you haven't yet taken the time to subscribe, please do so. Otherwise, I do hope to catch you next time. Bye, guys.